We're in the endgame now. Well played. However, this is still mostly within my calculations. It would take more than a miracle to figure it out before it's too late. In that sense, it is more like a game of chess. A game of chess in which I know my opponent's pieces, but they don't know mine. Fake queen is already cornered and will soon be taken care of. After that, it's time to go for the king. The game will be decided. Even if there is an unexpected comeback, I have several pieces prepared to protect me. Now it is time to continue the game. In case you forgot we were playing, this is Turnabout of Courage Part 3. Well, like Part 5, but Part 3 of the game. Part 5 of the video series covering said game. It's October 1st, which means it's spooky time. Well, I'm still alive and awake. That was quite the fight in there. That guy really knows how to push for a quick verdict. Remind me, that's one of the worst prosecutors I've ever faced. Not exactly because he's skilled, but rather because his methods are simply annoying. Yeah, he just let Gumshoe run into that trap, and simply had his fun with the defendant and the maid. So he's really just here to turn the trial into a farce for no reason? Anyway, shouldn't we try to work out what actually happened there? Even with all the information we got, I'm still not sure. Suspicious suitcases. Must mean something, but where did it disappear to? True, but maybe we should focus on what's actually at the crime scene, like the cage. At this point, it's pretty obvious that the defendant didn't actually do it. You should have believed it from the very beginning. Like I did. That leaves one fatal problem. Keys, anyone? Don't think too hard about it. I'm sure a solution around the keys will eventually present itself. That's one easy thing to say. What? Is that a letter? Where'd that come from? I didn't hear anything. Someone must have silently thrown it in here. Intriguing. We should give it a read. Dear Miss Fay, I'm writing you this letter to share some very important information. It's related to the trial you are currently involved in. Due to certain circumstances, I have to remain anonymous. Use the following information wisely. ... Just kidding. Asma. That was so dumb, but I love it. What was that blank expression? What does it say? Go crazy before this trial is over. Relax, he's just trying to provoke you so that you lose your focus. Well, it's working. And my patience has its limits. Let's just go back in and hope for the best, then. I couldn't use this recess to prepare a single thing. It's because I didn't get any sleep or because of the prosecutor. Maybe both. In any case, the next person on the stand will be Mrs. Abney. I wonder how difficult it will be to crack the ice. Hopefully it will be helpful in the end. This will be my last chance to show that there is more to this case. So hopefully this won't turn out to be just another trap by the prosecution. That was so dumb, but I loved it. Afternoon session, begin. We're here now. Court will now reconvene for the trial of Wesley Stickler. Everything prepared so that we can listen to the next witness? Why, yes, of course. She's been freezing in the prosecutor's lobby the whole time. The whole time? She was already there before the break? What's wrong with your memory? I told you I called everyone who might be related to the victim. But she's not exactly that closely related to him, is she? Just how many people did you call here, just in case? Around 50. Problem. I like to imagine that's just the amount of character sprites imported into the project. Just in case you can find a spot to use him in the case. Oh, I'm not the one who has to deal with the complaints afterwards. On another note, you do realize that I only called a recess because I thought the witness wasn't here? That's not what you said before the recess. You didn't even ask. Problem? Hey, Miss Faye. What's with that face? What was the point of that letter? Oh, disappointed. You thought the solution would just fly into your hands via a letter? Think that you'd even need something like that is already sad. What missed opportunity to, I don't even know if it happened this way in this universe with Phoenix and the forged evidence and whatnot, but missed opportunity by Hazma to poke fun at that too, with that maneuver. Enough. Call the next witness. Hello there. Yeah, this one's really rivaling the defense in certain areas. Well, give us a name. A name? What kind of name do you want? I believe the award for the longest name of all time was given to a German. His name was Adolf Blaine Charles David Errol Friedrich Harold Hubert Irvin Johnson Kenneth Lloyd Martin. Alright, I get the joke. Nero and Oliver Paul Quincy Randolph Sherman Thomas Uncas Victor William Xerxes and Yancey Zeus. That's only his given name. Please give me a moment to remember his last name. By the way, did you notice that he was given a name for every letter of the alphabet? Yes, I did. That's quite a long name. Well, he had to compensate for something. You were meant to state your own name for the record, witness. My name? That's a long story. Coincidentally, this story also began in Germany, in a small village, to be accurate. Said village was positioned between two mountains, one in the west and one in the east. Those mountains apparently looked like drills that pierce the The German word for drill is border, and the village was therefore called Doppelboringen. Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe you weren't able to follow. Allow me to explain. Loosely translated, Doppelboringen would mean something like double drillville. My ancestors were the nobles that village belonged to. That's how they eventually became known as the von Doppelboringens. Of course, that name was threatened throughout the generation. Threatened? If you don't eat all your vegetables, kids, I will rename you to Doppelboringen. It's almost a miracle that it survived in that form throughout the ages. Oh, threatened, as in the line almost died out. Okay. 20 minutes later. And after having established said business, my parents gave birth to me. And naturally, it's quite obvious that I would inherit that name. That's the story of my last name, but why did my parents decide to call me Luna? Well... my apologies. You are probably all in confusion at the moment. I actually decided to give up on that name when I married. Suppose I have to tell you how we met and why I decided to do that. The judge is out. The gallery is out. Must concentrate. Must stay awake. It sure is cold in here all of a sudden. Anyway, crazy hair lady with huge breasts, could you freaking get on with it? What did you say? Look, nobody gives a damn about your pathetic history. Just get to the point and tell us your name. What? I don't understand? We're not here to listen to that crap. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh no. Oh no. Drills activate. I'm... Luna at me. Head of the Honorable von Doppelboringen family. Well, an owner of Cool Company, the biggest coolant producer on the planet. Considering what I've already told you, how about you consider showing a little respect? What? Oh, wow. Now you're suddenly switched into arrogant mode. The maid we had earlier did that already, so maybe you should look for a more original gimmick. Excuse me, I think you didn't quite understand the meaning of my words. Allow me to elaborate. 2 years ago, there was a similar issue with someone not taking me seriously. He fell asleep during an important business meeting just like that. I dropped him in a coolant tank and froze him to death. Well, I naturally couldn't overlook that, falling asleep in my presence. It's quite easy to imagine, actually. And I am sure you could guess what I did. 2 days later, he was charged for insulting me. I hired 100 of the best lawyers and made him regret it. However, it wasn't over with that. It proceed. Nobody freaking cares. Silence. You dare to interrupt my interesting elaborations? What I wanted to imply is that I can make the same happen to you. I think I've already explained, but I am the owner of quite a big company. We even have contracts with Doors Incorporated. Our power is immense. I will repossess all of your doors. You will never leave the house again. The monthly profit is in the millions. Do you think you can just get away with insulting the owner? You're free to hire as many lawyers as you like. You don't have what it takes to defend yourself. I'd enjoy having a nice talk with all of them. You wasted enough time already. Oh, someone else who doesn't know where she belongs. Let me tell you a story. My God, no more stories, witness. I just want the trial to proceed. So stay. The witness will limit herself to the relevant parts. So, what exactly do you intend to make her ramble on about? That should be obvious. Her relationship with the victim, of course. Well then, go ahead. Crazy hair lady. Very well. There's really not much to say about that. What a shame. Oh wow, your theme is overriding the normal testimony theme. Thanks for fading out here. Oh god, here we go. Oh then, allow me to elaborate. I like to imagine that's the title of your character theme. Luna at me. Allow me to elaborate. This person has a very interesting face. I know someone like that. However, I have never personally seen him. If I did, it must have been more than 10 years ago. But I'm quite certain that I have no memory of this individual's face and name. Well, I do have a business partner called Larry. It's definitely not this guy. There's also that other Larry, but he should already be dead. You apparently implied that I had some sort of secret relationship going on. It's ridiculous. A fool like that isn't worthy of my affection. You're even trying to say that I had a motive to kill him. That is also incorrect. I wouldn't have a motive. Even Jack the Ripper had a motive. So why'd you even call me here? I'll make sure you will all regret this. I was in the CEO office the whole night, and nothing unusual happened. I was here to check over business reports to see if there are any inconsistencies. Nothing unusual happened, except for those lawyers that showed up early in the morning. Good God. Enough, that should be enough. Have fun with that. Well, good luck. Mrs. Fay, I'm warning you. We've already wasted enough time. Make this witness go off topic anymore, there will be consequences. That's what I would normally say, but even I realize that's probably impossible in this case. Just try to stay on topic as much as possible. Understood, Your Honor. Not really sure if there's something useful to find here. I'll just have to keep searching. I really don't want to press. Oh, shall we begin then? What kind of question will a commoner like you ask? I'm willing to answer in full detail. If you're willing to listen, that is. Bailiff, get me some coffee. One for me, too? Don't worry, I'm not going to throw it like your husband would. Whoops, my mistake. Too soon? I meant ex-husband, of course. That's what he's got. That's what he got for being coffee-obsessed. Oh, what's with that face? Did I hit a nerve there? Shut up. I'll begin cross-examination. Cross-examining the witness now. This theme is legitimately a banger. I am down for this. Like, we're just gonna enjoy this for a bit. And we're gonna press this even though it's obviously gonna bite me in the ass. Wait, no, can't we keep it short? I'm afraid that won't do. Do you have any misunderstandings that might cause? I have to make sure that you poor fools fully understand what I'm talking about. That might be a good example. Year's 1989, near the end of the Cold War. That time something really fascinating occurred. What? Oh, excuse me? Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, one of the two most powerful forces on the Earth. Founded in 1922, it used to be the largest country on the planet. However, they were facing a large crisis and eventually collapsed near the end of the 20th century. Do you want me to tell you how it happened? Since 1885, there had already been countless strikes by miners. The situation was not the best. Meanwhile, the GDR was only maintainable through military force since 1953. Oh, my apologies, you might not know about the GDR. The Soviet Union's part of Germany that they received after the Second World War. The German Democratic Republic, to be precise. Oh, do you want me to tell you what happened? No! The politician made a dangerously vague announcement which was misinterpreted by the media. Suddenly, the whole population was led to believe that the borders were open. So masses of people gathered at the Berlin Wall and demanded access to West Germany. The soldiers were not really sure what to do since they hadn't been properly informed. Eventually, they had no choice but to let them go through. Interestingly enough, the authorities in Moscow weren't informed until it was too late. Apparently, nobody wanted to wake them up. Nobody knows what that was really about. The war fell soon after that, and any attempt for the military to stop it were fruitless. And the Soviet Union itself crumbled as a result. Do you now understand? The politician was at fault for making such vague statements. Don't worry, I'll make sure that you always fully understand what I mean. I see. Wow, this could really take a while. Thanks for stating the obvious. There's your point, witness. Please continue. Alright, we're gonna see all of this. If you put all this in the game, Blackrune, we're gonna see each and every agonizing minute of it. I'm gonna love it. But you haven't seen him before, is that what you're saying? Well, should I tell you what he reminds me of? Yes, I probably should. I can try to avoid the obvious trap. Vain. Look, it's really not necessary to... Understood. Listen closely. 2500 BC is where this story starts. Oh, God. There's no way for the events that old to be relevant in this case. But this might reveal something very intriguing about our victim. Just listen for now. The ancient Huns clan of Mesopotamia. The town of Uruk. It was once a king. Oh, my apologies. You might not know where Uruk used to be located. It should be somewhere around the Iraq region. Maybe we should pause the trial and get an atlas. Oh, not necessary. I think we'll get the idea. Are you sure you'll be able to follow like this? Well, where was I? That time of the king, the fifth one to be precise, who said to be a demigod that reigned for 126 years, according to the records. Well, technically, demigod is not accurate enough. You have to keep in mind that he was actually 2/3 god and 1/3 human. So a demigod would have a god and a human as parents, so... Maybe his parents were one god and one demigod. Do you see my point? Hey, are you even still listening? We haven't reached the interesting part yet. Anyway, that 2/3 king happens to have his own epic. Are we really comparing Larry Butts to King Gilgamesh? The epic of Gilgamesh, in which his glorious deeds are described in impressive detail. Even I was surprised by how detailed it was. Allow me to elaborate on it. Most importantly, Gilgamesh is said to have built impressive city walls for his kingdom. He's definitely one of the most important Mesopotamian rulers. People even described him as the one who surpasses all other kings. This is rather strange, considering that he was a rather harsh ruler. In fact, his own objectionable rulership caused his citizens to pray to the gods for help. Believe it or not, The gods actually granted those wishes by creating a worthy opponent. If his name was Enkidu. Witness, please! And patience. Is this Gilgamesh even used in popular culture nowadays? It's not wrong to know what he actually did, at least according to the legend. So your whole point is that Mr. Buds bears resemblance to Gilgamesh? I thought that went without saying. See? This is why I prefer to state things clearly. Even Hazma has no words. Mrs. Faye, what way is it going to solve anything? I know, Your Honor. Ah, yes. The noble Butts family traces its lineage back to King Gilgamesh of Uruk. You've never seen him in person? Well, fair enough, but... Oh, this might cause an unintended misunderstanding. Allow me to be more clear. I know that personally only refers to the action of seeing someone in person. I had to state it like this, seeing how I have never now seen his face on the photo you showed me. Maybe there were also instances in which I unconsciously saw a photo of that person. If there are, I certainly do not have any memories of them. Rather unlikely but possible state. Maybe someone who actually saw him personally told me about his observations. I believe that could be interpreted as an indirect personal observation, strictly speaking. Now consider this. Rene Descartes pointed out that basically everything could be doubted. Maybe there's an invisible demon we don't know about who created false visions or memories. It should probably be disregarded by default, because otherwise you wouldn't get anywhere. Why bring it up at all then? I hate to make you aware of the possibility that I'm wrong. Though I am pretty sure about my statement. I won't state anything with certainty beyond that. We can have a look at an example starting in 1473, Nicolaus Copernicus. I believe we understood your point. I should continue the testimony. What are you saying? I'm not done explaining it. Are you like those who foolishly defended the geocentric worldview? No, right? Let me try another approach then. My memory does tell me that with a certain relative security. However, there could have been possibly chance meetings that I have no recollection of. Which means even though I technically said that I never met him, I might be mistaken. I suppose the relevancy of any unintentional chance meeting could be questioned. However, this is only referring to intentional meetings that I would have been fully aware of. Like that thing you are probably trying to suggest I had, that person. Still, unless I'm currently lying, it's a 99% secure fact that this person is a stranger to me. And according to my own consciousness, I am currently telling the truth. And by truth, I'm referring to a relatively objective definition. It's not like the term truth is defined as the truth I'd like you to believe in for me. You say that I'm lying about that as well, but the chances are rather low from my point of view. I get the feeling this elaboration is still lacking a historical example. Let me think of one. Oh, I think I got what you mean. I think we both know exactly as much as we did before I asked. Are you sure you can do it without an example? Very well, I will take the liberty to proceed then. Oh, this has a story behind it. This has a story behind it. Oh yeah, baby. Give me that story. Now you tell us a story about 10 years ago. Isn't that right, witness? Is that seriously what you believed? Because you're absolutely correct. Actually, you're wrong. This story starts 100 years ago. Alright, even reverse psychology has no effect. You see, back then I was still a little girl without the glorious hair. Remember, maybe some of my classmates look like that. And maybe their faces has already begun to grow foggy, so I can't give you a guarantee, but I seem to recall a boy wearing a monocle and a strange girl with sunglasses. Boy wearing a monocle, girl with sunglasses. That's gotta be a reference to something. Listening to my story, however, she took off her sunglasses and switched styles. Yes, inspired by me, she turned into an ice princess. What? Are you sure you didn't forcefully freeze her or something? Okay, that's a reference I don't understand, then. You have to fill me in. Nonsense, I would never abuse our products like that. It was inspiration, I'm telling you. It made the boy with the monocle fall in love with her. They married and lived happily ever after. That's gotta be a reference. Fine, to be precise, I don't know if they're still alive. So, goddess, I'm quite sure the boy did not resemble Mr. Butts in the slightest. And certainly if he did, it would still have been a decade ago. Its relevance is therefore questionable. Speaking of monocles, have you ever heard of that prosecutor? He has quite the resemblance to that boy. Maybe it's actually him. The prosecutor with a monocle? It would be his name is Raven or something like that. Okay, that's a reference to another fan case then. Raven? That's quite an odd name. Speaking of, he's certainly not the only Raven around. There's another one who made quite the interesting offer to me. Okay, girls, let's not get too meta here or some players will complain again. Yeah. Hello. Oh, whoops, I just made it even worse, right? My bad. Oh, where was I? Alright, 10 years ago. Back then my grandfather told me an interesting story. Oh wait, you couldn't possibly know what kind of person my grandfather was. Guess I'll have to start in the past. You see, our family used to live in Germany. However, when the First World War was about to break out... I think you already told us that story once, Great Depression and all. You actually remembered? I very much appreciated, Cobbler Lady. Splendid, I can go on then. Cool, good. Neither face nor name. Neither, you could say that. I'm reminded of a popular work from the Far East. Should probably elaborate, but on what? Ever heard of the Deadly Three? Oh, just throw an even more random topics into the conversation. Witness. Face and name. You claim that you saw neither before. Though regarding the name, I will elaborate on that issue later. Of course, I have heard that name before, but not directly linked to that very person. Whenever I heard or read the name Larry, it had nothing to do with the victim in this case. Back to my previous point, the Deadly Three are the most feared assassins in the world. There's Flawless Executioner, Cooter Exer. Cooter Exer, for example. It's pretty expensive, but can do almost anything. Seeing how he's a master of disguise, might even be in this courtroom right now. Oh, wait a second, witness? Are you seriously lecturing us about how to hire an assassin? Right! Witness, you will stick to more child-friendly topics. I didn't even notice until I pointed it out. You misunderstand. I just wanted to give you a full explanation. It seems like you're more interested in the face and name problematic. As I already said, I never had any contact with that person. That includes any form of communication. Speech, mail, messenger pigeons, email, smoke signals. I was joking. Morse code, phone calls, videotapes, CDs, DVDs, internet chat rooms. Yeah, we get the idea, thank you. I just can't let her get away with all this. I'd like to point out, Mr. Exit, don't just start talking about that again, please. Stay on topic. Very well, lawyer of the common people. Next, we'll have to address this naturally. Business partner called Larry, huh? Larry! Larry! God. That's the one show I always end up seeing on without ever seeking out. That Impractical Joker show. My one memory of that show is like one of the recurring jokes on this show is to have someone going around looking for Larry. Random guy named Larry. So, let's see. Guy wandering. Larry! Larry! Never mind. Please proceed with this. Oh, do I spot a hint of interest there? Very well, let me explain. You should do something against this habit to press everything. This Larry I was talking about happens to be the creator of an internet search engine. Oh? Most famous one there is, actually. Why would a coolant merchant have something to do with that, you ask? First of all, it's important for advertising. Yes, getting that sweet, sweet SEO juice. If people use such a search engine, it can't even be counted anymore. Now, for a relatively small payment, everything related to our company will always appear at the top. Though in this case, he was more interested in our services. Apparently there are secret plans to set up an outstandingly huge computer somewhere. So he questioned an ultra super deluxe cooling system which is currently still in development. Yeah, high-tech cooling system for high-tech server farms. But to get back to the person himself, Larry is technically not his real name. As for why I'm allowed to use this nickname instead of his real name, technically I shouldn't. However, it seemed relevant in this case since it's the name I'm questioned about. However, I'm quite certain that Larry is not the Larry in this case. Getting back to the issue, that would mean that this business partner has nothing to do with this. course, I can't rule out a connection completely, seeing how he could be the murderer. If we only consider my current knowledge, it's very unlikely. This corporation was founded in 1998. It is still relatively young. Still, they're already making more profit than us. Then again, this isn't exactly our direct competition. For that, we would opt to look at other Coolidge merchants. What comes to mind is Kisaragi Industries. Oh, there's another Blaze Blue reference. They've gotten quite troublesome during the last few years with their advanced technology. Even attempted creating a product called the Ice Car. It never succeeded, fortunately. Ah, yes, the Ice Car. Is that like the meta meme, the Jin Kisaragi Blaze Blue move? The regular products are fortunately no match for ours in terms of variety, prices, and quality. It's been, like, years since I've been in the Blaze Blue sense, to any sort of degree. That Kisaragi. Yep, there it is. He seriously believed he could beat me by spamming ice cars. Seriously? He tried to corner me near a wall and spam heavy strikes. Seriously, guys, learn how to combo if you want to even have a chance to beat my boss form. Can we get back to the issue at hand now? Blackrune, why do I feel like you're venting old Blaze Blue frustrations in this? What do you mean? I've been talking about it the whole time. Ever, Larry? Larry! Witness, it would be preferable if you focused on the Larry of this case. Ah, but this one is a really interesting story. Oh, really then? Why, please elaborate. Happened when I was only 8 years old. I was in Washington because my parents had an important appointment there. Did you meet Larry Bird? What? The year is 2000. Everyone had been excited about the start of a new millennium. What? At the time, America was still unquestionably the strongest economic force in the world. Even in terms of military power, nobody was able to compare. Nobody doubted this. This unparalleled democratic force basically controlled the world. As I already said, we were in Washington for important business matters. I was allowed to attend the meeting and had to wait in the anteroom. I took notice of a young man with blonde hair and a big mustache who was wearing shades. He wore a black business suit which didn't really fit him because he was too small. I was still a child and didn't think pointing out that fact to him would be considered impolite, so I did. The man adjusted his glasses, forced a smile, and told me that he was aware of it. Apparently he hadn't had the time to buy a new one, or didn't want to admit that he had gained weight. I tried to converse with him, but strangely he grew annoyed at me after 1 hour and a few minutes. That's when I decided to leave the building, so I pressed the elevator button. Oh, I think I haven't mentioned this took place on the 25th floor of a company building. My apologies. I noticed the elevator button stopped briefly on the 8th floor. Somebody apparently got on it there. When I finally arrived at my floor, I saw that an old man was standing inside. What was left of his hair was white, and he had a beard of considerable length. He also used a gilded cane to support him. I pressed the button for the ground floor, but the elevator went up instead. That was likely because the old man had already pressed a button for one of the upper floors. I suppose the elevator was programmed to prioritize the shorter route. He seemed to be studying me carefully. I probably wondered what a child was doing there. I felt the urge to clear the matter up, and briefly summarized the reasons for my presence. He chuckled and said that parents shouldn't be doing things like bringing their children to meetings. He said I was really lucky for having such wealthy parents. However, I shouldn't take it for granted and slack off. After that, he tried to pat my head, but almost lost his balance when the elevator stopped. Just when he got off, I asked for his name. He said, "Just call me Larry. I hope we'll meet again." Larry! After he finished his second sentence, the elevator doors closed again and it went down. I thought about what just happened for the whole time until the elevator reached the ground floor. I got off and looked around. To my right was an information desk. In front was an automatic sliding door. To my left were some benches in a corridor. Good God. Wait, that's it? I'm not finished yet. This could be how I spent my time waiting outside. Oh, God. What was the introduction for, then? It was obviously just for the sake of being adequately elaborate. So when did you meet this Larry again? This old man who called himself Larry. That was the one and only time I met him. That was all? Then why did you even... Oh, this is perfect. What? It's over? Well, please proceed with this. The greatest pleasure. I'm starting to enjoy testifying. Maybe I should become a detective so that I can testify more often. It's so much more fun to have people who are actually listening. Become a detective? Testifying more often from now on? A captive audience. Poor judge, there'd be no escape for him. Are you going to deny that? I was about to get to that, but you just had to interrupt. I see. Go ahead, then. I will. Wait, what? You aren't going to elaborate? I saw no reason to do that here, but you are apparently disappointed by my decision. Wait, that's not exactly how I meant it! I should have known someone like you would be able to understand without the proper precision. You should be aware of the fact that you were implying me to have a connection to Mr. Larry Butts. I was about to respond with either a confirmation, a partial, or a complete denial. After that, I would be attempting to elaborate about a similar case of false accusations. You would, however, insist on it and accuse me of having something to do with a murder. And I was going to point out that such a connection would be far from a motive for murder. It's likely that I would then give a brief insight about the definition of a motive, combined with examples. These would include one famous case which took place in London. And if the motive there would obviously be my alibi that I would have to explain to you. I was intending to give you details about all the activities I took last night. In fact, I am likely going to do all that anyway, regardless of your sudden interruption. Unless you have evidence contradicting my claim, which is impossible to my knowledge. You have to keep being cognizant of the fact that I am telling you what I perceive to be the truth. To contradict the truth, you would need to present evidence suggesting something false. Evidence to do this, it must either be false to begin with, or there must be false assumptions. Naturally, if you were to present those pieces of evidence which are falsely accusing me, it would enable me to explain exactly what kind of wrong assumptions you made. This way you might be eventually prompted to realize the foolishness of your baseless accusation. It would hurt your case, but we would be making some progress again. Don't get me wrong, though, I am vastly enjoying myself at the moment, as am I. I shouldn't be, but I am. If you would ask me for my opinion on the matter, I would be fine with making more detailed elaborations. In that regard, I highly suggest that you not attempt to present evidence. Well, may I go on? No, yes, just keep talking. Oh? Calling a dead man a fool doesn't exactly sound like he was a stranger to you. Oh, I treat everyone the same way, whether they're alive or dead. What I gathered about him, there is really no better word to describe Mr. Butts. There isn't one single reason we'd have a relationship with someone like that. I'm rich, noble, and already have a great husband. This is outrageous. Well, I've already made you aware of the consequences in case you will persist. Of course, we could take like one of the typical examples regarding this kind of relationship. Yes, in Romeo and Juliet, we think of a noble lady in love with a man of low origin. And again, Romeo's family was rather well off anyway. Of course, Mr. Butts also had a decent fortune, but it isn't comparable. And you have to keep in mind what happened in the end. Tragic suicide by Romeo, who thought of his love as dead. Upon awakening, Juliet chose the same fate. As here I am, talking elaborately to you all. I am not grieving, or in tears. So you have to ask yourself, if I felt something for that man, would I be able to talk like this? Obviously not. I'm not that good of an actress, believe me. If you think I only wanted his money, keep in mind that I am wealthier than that guy ever was. But even if that wasn't the case, it would have been a little early for the murder. It's not like he changed his will recently to make me benefit from him. To make me benefit from it, or something. Brings you to my next point, lack of motive. In case you're considering accusing me. Ooh. Oh. I gotta hydrate between these. Oh, don't even try to feign ignorance. I understood your intentions perfectly. You're naturally trying to put the blame on an innocent bystander. However, you could not do so. You don't have a plausible motive. People don't just do things for no reason. There's a motive for everything. Let's take a brief look at the First World War to understand. No, it started with Archduke Franz Ferdinand. The 20th century, oh god, here we go. Could probably be considered the bloodiest of all centuries. The story begins in 1914 in Europe. Oh my god. Nations struggling for power had reached a dangerous stage. Alliances had been formed and were about to lead to a tragic result. On one side, there were France, Britain, and Russia. This alliance had been formed in order to counter the triple alliance of Germany, Austria, and Italy. However, Italy bent the rules with an additional secret agreement and wasn't really part of that alliance. Obviously, Germany was surrounded by three enemies, and very disadvantageous. However, they managed to come up with a desperate plan in case of war. The so-called Schlieffen Plan was really pretty much the best they managed to come up with. Said plan involved a swift invasion of France through the unprotected Belgium. Russia's a big country and would need time to mobilize its troops. That's what they counted on. Meanwhile, tensions had built up between Austria-Hungary and Serbia. The assassination of the Austro-Hungarian Archduke Franz Ferdinand was the main reason. Austria-Hungary posed an ultimatum with outrageous demands to Serbia. However, they actually accepted, at least most of the demands. This, however, did not prevent Austria-Hungary from invading the country anyways. Germany decided to support them without actually joining the war, however. After Russia decided to mobilize its troops to assist Serbia, they were in quite some trouble. In order for their plan to work, Russia's troops needed to be unprepared. In order to avoid a potential war on two fronts, Germany had no choice but to set things in motion. It did not go quite as planned because France proved to be a tougher opponent than expected. Britain also decided to take action because they saw the invasion of Belgium as a threat. Finally, America joined in and put an end to the war. America? Well, what do you think? A bit vague in the details, but appropriate for a summary, I suppose. Oh, I can do it over if you want the details. No, I'm good. I need to put an end to this. Motive, huh? Assuming there was a certain relationship between you, I can actually see quite a clear one. It's very important for people in your circles to maintain a certain reputation. If we threaten you, if you reveal some damaging details. For example. Not bad, Mrs. Fay, but you forget that the first part of your hypothesis is merely speculation. Since I don't know him, he had nothing to threaten me with. Looking at the possibilities for motive, it is quite obvious what might be involved. Greed, hatred, revenge, fear, insanity, simple bloodlust, jealousy, pride. You'll find no psychologist that would tell you that I'm insane, so that option is out of the question. I wonder about that. Most of their options would require a sort of actual connection between me and the victim. Where such a connection has still not been established and is never going to be. Your sole basis for a reasonable motive is therefore destroyed from the very beginning. I guess guilty. Give me a guilty. Still putting that. I give up. Guilty, please. Fine, just give me a guilty verdict already so I can get out of here. Wait, no. Who made you say that? Too late. Can't come back on your word now. Well, this is a rather unusual situation. Look, who cares if it doesn't make sense? She said it. She's gonna have to pay for it. Hold it. I have no clue what happened there, but I didn't mean to plead guilty. Overruled. You had the free choice. That wasn't fair. I wasn't really listening. Oh, then don't get distracted and listen to what the witness has to say. I suppose you had your fair chance, Mrs. Fay. I'm really sorry. Enough. The court sees no reason to further prolong this trial. Nor is there any need for any more time to decide the case against the defendant. This case is extremely yes, very crystal. Ironclad. I see no room for misinterpretation of the facts. It's extremely clear. It goes back to Archduke Franz Ferdinand. And took long enough to get that into your brain. This court finds the defendant, Mr. Wesley Stickler, guilty. That is all. This court is adjourned. Does merciful mode kick in here? Do we get a bad ending? Game over. Do. Is that it? Oh, nope. It says there's no the end. Game over. There, okay. Now it's the end. Fair enough. Now I got the end. Alright, let's reload. Still admitting not guilty. I have no idea what you're trying to make me do. I obviously won't change my opinion. Well played. It was worth a try, though. What was that about? It almost felt like I actually barely avoided a landmine. Alright, let's get the Jack the Ripper history lesson. Fine then, Jack the Ripper. Indeed. So, what about it? Oh, please, that's common knowledge. Wait, so that's something I'm right to that's something I'm right to skip over? It would appear to me like you aren't really that interested, but let me say that again. So you're just gonna proceed then? I mean, this is the perfect opportunity. I'm sure that a true warrior should only strike when it is not expected by his enemy. Well, it's not like it wasn't expected on all the previous occasions. Statistically speaking, it is only natural for a dice to not always show the same side. Let's assume you roll a 6 10 times. Wouldn't you think the chances would lower then? I have to assume the dice are rigged. Obviously, the chances are still the same. Gambler's fallacy. However, this example can't just be applied to other games like rock, paper, scissors. Depending on the situation, one person might prefer a certain sign. The same way it can be assumed that I would eventually grow tired of elaborating on every single point. There might also be topics which I don't deem to be particularly interesting. In that case, why did you add this statement at all? Oh, I thought it would be a self-explanatory example, which tragically wasn't the case. To be honest, the current thread seems to be a more valuable topic to pursue. Really get the chance to elaborate on the reasons why I didn't elaborate on something. Oh god. Can we just drop this, please? Please? See? You are losing interest. I am disappointed. I was just gonna go. I should prefer to follow all possible leads. Don't misunderstand. Sure, you'd say that. Let's be honest, it's always something like this. Someone who's obviously guilty is arrested by police. But there's still someone who takes the case. Against all odds, the defense attorney manages to keep the trial going on for days. Most by bluffing, which they call following all possible leads. What usually happens in the end. But usually does turn out that the defendant was actually innocent. And the real guilty party is found in the end, most of the time. I think you've just validated my argument. Anyway, I'll make sure you're not getting away with this. You'll have to give her that they did at least have a bad reason to call you here. I called you here for no real reason at all, you see. You too. You're all going to pay for this. I'm just trying to get this over with before Christmas. Alright, there's still 2 more statements. There's still 2 more statements in for 45 minutes in. Nothing unusual at all. Nothing at all. It's just incredible. You believe I'm about to say this, but it's a rather vague statement. What exactly did happen, even if it was something you didn't consider unusual? Nothing noteworthy. Nothing noteworthy. If you want the full story. Nowhere to start. I know the period of interest is last night, but how is night defined? Before you end up starting the Middle Age, let's focus on 10 o'clock to 1 in the morning, okay? Very well. It was around 10 o'clock. I was in my office together with my husband. 10:01 received an anonymous call asking for a sudden appointment at 11 o'clock. Well, the connection seemed bad, so I wasn't really sure if that's what they said. Whoa. I also said something about a murder in the past and a theft at our company. Well, a little later, they called again and said they apparently mixed up the company. In fact, they pointed out twice that they won't be coming after all. What the? I found this highly unfortunate, so I was really in the mood for a long-winded conversation. After that, there was mostly silence. I worked on a certain business report and got sleepy. In order to stay awake, I prepared some coffee. Put some coffee and ice cubes in my cup. I'm sorry, I just had to object to putting ice cubes in your coffee. But that's Godot Blight number 173. Are you mocking your dead husband's legacy? Yeah. Anyway, after that, my husband left to do some stuff shortly before midnight, maybe around 11:57. Nothing else happened aside from you people arriving to question us about a murder later that night. Now, taking all this together, are you claiming that all of this is nothing unusual? Oh, things like this happen all the time. Every 3rd day, perhaps. I suppose popular individuals like me are just bound to have a more interesting life compared to you. You should probably disregard that phone call. Just throwing that past 4th wall. Silly fairness and stuff. Okay. Fine then, please move on. Just throwing that in there for flavor text, I guess, and giving us the kindness of don't consider that in terms of the actual mystery of this case. Just fair. Alright, business reports. Business reports. I'm starting to fall asleep. You're referring to this thing, correct? Exactly. Well, that wasn't the only one. Did you find anything? That hasn't already been taken care of. So, how exactly do you read this? It's quite simple. That is DGE, mean department, game, expenses. That's exactly how things are listed in here. Anyone capable of basic math may waste their time to see if there's something wrong. If there's something wrong here. According to the individual departments, if their elaboration might be in order. Cool water takes care of all cooling systems relying on simple water. Water's not the best coolant out there, but has the advantage of being cheap. The heavy water is water mostly considering of deuterium oxide, which is more difficult to produce. And because of this, it's actually rarely used to actually cool something. However, it has some uses as a moderator in nuclear power plants. Deuterium oxide is actually a real thing. Call it a side project of sorts. Ice? Well, technically just water again. A lot of people, including me, just love ice cubes in their drinks, right? We had Cool Company produce perfect quality ice cubes for everyone's drinks. Do not get fooled by the name of dry ice. It's little to do with the ice you're familiar with. First off, we're actually talking about frozen carbon dioxide here. The special thing about this material is that it sublimates. Dry ice will turn gaseous at room temperature, leaving almost no trace behind. And if you put it in plastic containers, it will explode and make you lose your hearing. Albeit a good coolant material, there are several drawbacks you have to keep in mind. First of all, it's much colder than normal ice. If you touch dry ice directly, If you touch dry directly ice, it'd burn your skin. It's heavier than air, and might gather in dangerous quantities in badly ventilated places, so be careful. It's also quite poisonous if inhaled. It can cause serious health issues, like death. The problem here is that the gas is colorless and odorless, so you might not even realize it before it's too late, and you'd fall unconscious. You might even die if it happens in the wrong place. That's interesting. Cool others taking care of smaller things that aren't worth having a department for yet. Cool merchandising is self-explanatory. They sell Tai-Wai dolls. Oh, my apologies, you might not know about Tai-Wai, our mascot. Small, cute ice princess called Tira Winter. I gave her a very fitting design. Okay, whose OC is that? In fact, if you all buy one of them, I might even consider forgiving you for this insolence. I think that even companies like this are in need of a mascot nowadays. That was actually interesting. Alright, let's hear about us. Lawyers in the more... Wait, that's obviously referring to our message. Just maybe ask that question. So, in short, nobody suspicious entered or left Cool Company, and nothing strange happened. Indeed. That's why we absolutely have absolutely nothing to do with this murder. We have finally reached a conclusion after roughly 4 hours of random fun facts. Can't give up on this without at least putting up a fight. This testimony, what is this chilly feeling? This feels like wandering through a blizzard with no end in sight. Surely doesn't even do it on purpose. That isn't exactly helping my case either. You have to filter out all the irrelevant parts and see. Get out of this with the right evidence. It's said and done. Alright, I figured out where to put it. No bears. Alright, love letters. So, you thought you could hide your connection to the crime, Mrs. Atme? I'm unsure on how to elaborate on it, but that evidence does not indict me at all. Wow, you've actually managed to render her speechless. You have my respect. Thanks, bro. I'm afraid you know what this means, Mrs. Fay. What? Oh, what? Yes, I'm afraid I do. What? 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 That wasn't me. Not so— what? Not so fast, old bearded. What is happening here? My special lawyer said to detect that you were about to unfairly penalize an offense. Mrs. Fay just presented an unreasonable argument to the court. That is not unfair. What is happening? I wish you would still be wrong. What is— what is happening here? Could you just get to it? I could use another good laugh. It's been a while since I've been so amused. Huh? Aren't you that Michael Jackson impersonator who likes snakes? Why are you on this case? You're okay, but I think a case like this would only be worthy of Winston Payne. He's right, if for the completely wrong reason. Let's get on with it. These little cameo failure convos do get a tad tedious after a while, you know? Okay, fine. Might as well show you all what I came here for. Take that! What is happening? Do you see? This is why you cannot penalize an offense. What exactly is that? Didn't you even look at it? This right here is the current discussion thread for Turnabout of Courage. It's over 30 pages at the time of this failure conversation was written. What? And God knows how many more when the trial is actually finished. This is relevant how, you ask? Well, come on, the likes of Bad Player and Nihilistic Ninja have been going back and forth. Back and forth speculating. And they have still yet to make any real progress. Your Honor, with the current information, this case is unsolvable. But fear not, for I am Glaze Cannon, epic attorney of the 7th Sea. I have a theory to explain everything. I have produced the evidence to back it up. You see, Mr. Butts actually committed suicide. The years and years of mooching off his friends and dealing with failed relationships. Larry Butts finally realized that he was a pathetic, worthless excuse for a human being. He decided to end it all. What the fuck? Before doing this, he asked Miles Edgeworth to take out a life insurance policy on him. You know, so the two were roomies and all. Once alone in the tower, Larry Butts did the only good thing he's ever done in his life. He sacrificed himself so that someone else could benefit from the money he left behind. I can prove this because I found an empty jar of Nutella in Mr. Butts' fridge. Oh, God. Surely you wouldn't consume that much Nutella at once. Unless you intended to celebrate your last day on Earth. And that is how everything in this case really happened. What the fuck is going on? You just never disappoint, do ya? Nope. Glaze Cannon is never wrong. Oh yeah, sorry I took your case from you, toots. You really remind me of someone when they were younger. Gee, I wonder who that could be. Don't even act like you don't know. Mr. Cannon, far be it from me to question the way of an attorney, but there are many things wrong with your explanation. Would you like me to elaborate? Oh God! Just try to elaborate on my argument. It's flawless. What? No! Mrs. Atme, please! He has no idea. Very well. First, claim that the victim had low self-esteem, which caused the suicide. This is in fact not true, as I did my research on Mr. Butts, and I will tell you right now, he never felt the slightest bit guilty for mooching off of his... He never felt the slightest bit guilty for mooching off the earnings of others. Furthermore, Butts was foolish enough to believe whenever one relationship failed, the next would be just peachy. In addition, even if Mr. Butts did jump out of the tower, that would not explain why the defendant claimed that he assaulted him. After all, he would needlessly be drawing suspicion upon himself if he falsely confessed to this. And move on to the point of life insurance. I have done a thorough investigation on the victim. He does not have a life insurance policy. Furthermore, Even if he did, I doubt he would request Mr. Edgeworth to do it. Do not doubt me when I say that Mr. Butts would most likely request his current lover to do so. He's very devoted to his female companions, you must understand. On your last point, Nutella. Do you have an idea how ridiculous it is that you accuse someone of committing suicide because they consumed a copious amount of Nutella? My husband eats about 3 jars of Nutella a day. Holy shit! Ugh, damn. By your light of logic, my husband has been killing himself 3 times on a daily basis ever since he married me. I will have you all know that my husband Luke is alive and well, so your reasoning is null and void. Furthermore, Mr. Butts was a party animal who enjoyed the simple things in life. And if he did consume that entire jar of Nutella at once, I highly doubt that it was for the sole purpose of... How do I put this? I highly doubt he consumed the entire jar to go out with a bang. Nutella is a cheap, delicious treat that is available at many pharmacies, convenience and grocery stores, and probably at least one local gas station. I think that Mr. Butts would do something far more extravagant if he was planning to end his life. Look at that! So you see, every one of the points you have brought up are weak, poorly supported, and do not hold up in a court of law. Oh dear, I'm afraid I can no longer elaborate on this subject. What a shame. What? How did you successfully counter that? I thought only Winston Payne could challenge my reasoning. Oh my god, is that who Glaze Cannon is? A defense lawyer who is a worthy rival to Winston Payne? Incredible. How have I never heard of this fool before? Oh. Well, that's what I always assumed. Since nobody tends to listen to me. Of course, that's just because none of them can defeat my flawless reasoning. Which are really good. You should become my apprentice. I need another one anyway. Her? An offense attorney? Dear heavens, no! Okay, folks, that's enough ridiculous cameo fun. Hey, Gannon, Scrab, are you gonna find out why I make Taker players mad? Yeah, it's just kinda getting silly now. Get on with it. Yes, please, get on with it! Get on with it! But I like being here. I mean here, in a Blackrune case. It's the biggest honor known to... Get on with it. You know, it's bad when she wants to cut to the chase. Okay, fine, I'll go. Miss Luna, I'll be expecting you to apply to the Canon and Code Law offices later today. Please don't be late. We could use a lovely lady such as yourself. I think I'll pass. Before we proceed, I believe the defendant was about to be penalized. You didn't need to remind me, Mr. Hosma. I remembered. Oh, well, good for you then. Well, that just fucking happened. Why does he only remember things when it's bad for me? Oh my god. What? Where did we even leave off? What the fuck is going on? Why are we still here? Just to suffer? Okay, the actual part we need to do is we need to put the love letters here. Not the motive for murder, not proving that she was in a tryst, but just knowing his face and name. His name would have been on the love letters. Even if there wasn't an actual relationship going on here, we still have the love letters to go off of. Objection! Oh god, it's over. It's over. It's over. It's over. It's over.